This is an actual story of a client getting screwed by an AI program because they have no governance and very little human oversight. Okay, here's the history that you need to know. My client is a fleet service company, and its name, I will use names here, is Movin' and Lubin. I didn't name it. They do fleets. They service fleets for both medium and large companies. Their biggest company, or the biggest client, is a company you may have heard of named Amazon. Obviously, they have a lot of vehicles on the road. Now, Amazon doesn't manage their fleet directly, nor delivering the delivery process directly. They hire delivery service partners, DSPs, who use a company like Element to track everything and everything to do with the service and maintenance. It's a big ecosystem with a lot of moving parts. Now, you know the players. So you have my client, Movin' and Lubin, you have Element, and you have Amazon. Those are the players, and this is the game that they got screwed in. So here it goes. Element uses proprietary AI to track and flag fleet service companies like my clients. The AI looks at 3 categories: turnaround time, pricing, and behavior. My client doesn't get any other information as to what is good turnaround time, what is good pricing, and what is good behavior, which is a little suspect, and especially behavior, because what does that mean? Here comes the meat of this story. Janus Point, our sponsor, turn AI risk into defensible action. Janus Point is a Bloomberg-style decision platform. It's made for municipal AI governance. It brings together the most decision-relevant intelligence across policy, procurement, legal risk, peer city activity, and vendor oversight. It then turns that intelligence into practical workflows for due diligence, documentation, and performance tracking. The result is a clearer, more defensible way for city leaders to evaluate AI tools, manage risk, and of course, justify adoption. JanusPoint.com. The AI tries to find, so this is what the AI does. The AI tries to find inconsistencies and patterns inside the metrics to flag them. This is a pretty good use for AI in principle. As I continue the story, you will realize the lack of governance and human oversight that's going to cost my client 1/3 of his business revenue. The DSPs, who are very happy with my client, will have slower turnaround time, and the quality of work won't be as good because they have to go back to using partners that they just weren't happy with. However, those partners didn't have the same very interesting flags that we will get to in a little bit. First, let's talk about some of the governance. Element is the largest publicly traded automotive fleet manager in the world. It is smart and wise for them to build AI. They got the money to do it, and this is actually a good use case. However, you can have a good idea and not execute it well. It is not smart to build an AI that does not have appropriate governance around it. First, AI-generated flags with proper governance should generate strikes or something like strikes for the service provider to learn from. Next, when enough flags have arose to warrant termination, there should be protocol to appeal or to look to see if the infractions are legitimate. This is relatively new programming. There should be some way to filter back up to have a human in the loop. The way this AI works is just generate a strike. It essentially reports that strike back to Amazon, and just like that, Amazon cancels the company's ability to work with them because they have too many strikes. Now, let's talk a little bit about human oversight. In my professional opinion, at this point, AI agent adoption, you need serious AI managers. You need oversight. You need to have human insight on the decisions, the thought processes, and metrics as to how well the program is doing in its job. Do not short yourself on this. It is the case where, in cases where the AI flags a company enough to draw business away from them, the human oversight should be able to flush out the knowledge AI brings with the wisdom of humans. AI has the world's worth of knowledge, for sure. But knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. Remember that. Human in the loop. That's why we preach at Janus Consulting, humans first. But I digress. This isn't a commercial. This is a story. Now, you might say, Josh, let's be real here. Perhaps your client infractions are more important than you realize, and the AI program has worked perfectly. Yeah, that could be, but I'm going to let you be the judge. So, Moving and Lubin, as my client, was given 3 flags that it received in 2025. 0 of those flags were turnaround times, which obviously, if you have some common sense, that would probably be important to get Amazon trucks back out there. No problems there. No problems in pricing, meaning that comparatively speaking, the AI says, hey, your pricing and everything that you're doing is directly in line. Great. All in the behavior category, again, with no structure to it. Here are the flags, and we'll let you be the decision factor here. Okay, flag 1, door roller concern. This is what the flag says. We were told there was a truck where we replaced 4 door rollers, then a month later submitted for 3 more. That was a flag. The response from Moving and Lubin, our response, at first visit, only 4 rollers were bad, so we only recommended we replace those 4. A month later, 3 additional rollers failed, so we submitted for those. To us, this shows integrity. We were not recommended to replace every roller because some of them just weren't bad. We only recommended what was actually needed at a time. AI thought that was a poor behavior because. 2, Hino oil change. A Hino, which is a box truck, was brought in for an oil change in July, completed, and then another oil change request was submitted about 2 weeks later. The response, the second submission was requested to check approval and determine whether service was due. Nothing was serviced at the time. The ticket remained open until September, so it's just a clerical error. It was just open, but no service was done, when that vehicle came back and was actually due for another oil change. At that point, the approved service was completed and paid. So they just used the previous ticket to do that. Okay. 3, by the way, I understand where that could be a challenge. You may have wanted to close out that ticket and redo a ticket, but probably not worth losing a good provider over. 3, auto integrate. Maintenance items were submitted, but some were denied due to mileage service interval concerns. Their response, Moving and Lubin's response, we do not recommend maintenance unless it is requested or appears due through the system customer request. In this case, there appears to have been a mileage inconsistency. Maintenance was denied, except for the oil change. The approved repairs were completed and paid. Again, this seems to come from us checking approvals in advance, not from intentionally submitting improper work. These are the 3 flags that they received in 2025. So AI flagged these for better or worse. I can, I guess I could make an argument for the other ones, but because there is no wisdom, they get chalked in with other flags like, charging $1 million for a brake job or something of that nature. Okay, so the DSPs, the people that actually do the work for Amazon, love my client's performance, and are going to bat for them. But even they don't know who to contact because the AI overlord has said, hey, this is, you have been flagged. And of course, Amazon has basically everything AI. It's hard to get a hold of anybody in person. And because of these governance and human oversight lacks, these companies are all screwed, and it's going to cost millions and millions of dollars because of the fact that there is no real oversight here. Because of low wisdom in AI governance and their programming, the DSPs lose, Amazon loses, and of course my client loses. Now, can Amazon take that hit? Sure. But for my client, it's a big chunk of business, about a third of their business, for something that they were both unaware of that they could fix. And realistically, if between me and you, the listener, it's kind of bullshit. Pardon my French. Now, I'm certainly not I'm an AI guy. I make a portion of my living on AI consulting. I'm not advocating against not using AI or not using AI if you're the company Element or not using AI if you're Amazon. I am advocating to use wise, sometimes you have to use third-party companies that can institute common governance practices for your AI programs. It will save you a ton of money in the long run. Preferably companies, in my opinion, that are going to put humans first. Also, I'm advocating for companies to upskill employees to AI managers or whatever you want to call them. Keep people in the loop. It will save, again, a lot of money and a lot of frustration to the companies that you work with. What will happen to Moving to Lubin next? I don't know, but I'm sure they are not alone in being a victim of shoddy AI governance. If you have a story or know of a story like this, send it my way. It's a part of my mission to make sure we do AI right in a humans first way. See you at the next episode.